Sonic X Shadow Generations is right around the corner, so let's give Sonic Frontiers the send-off it deserves, with a challenge that deletes the unique gimmick that Sonic's moveset provides. Can you beat Sonic Frontiers without using the Cyloop? The rules for the challenge are pretty simple. The X button is disabled through the Switch's button mapping. Consequently, the ability to use the Grand Slam, Sonic's counter against Titans, and the ability to revisit islands is also disabled. Any speedrun tricks are allowed as long as they can be performed without X. For a bonus challenge, we will be trying for both endings, with a difficulty set to hard during combat. With the rules set, let us begin. We start our adventure in cyberspace as Sonic, Tails, and Amy were sucked in upon their approach to the Starfall Islands. The cyberspace stages don't allow for Cyloop use, but will be required for keys. Instead of pointing out everything for a stage, I'll just point out whenever you need to go to one. As a recommendation, the maps from my 100% file will now be shown. Feel free to come back if you ever need these. Another challenge that requires the Cyloop are the action chain challenges, so no spin dash for us. While the tutorial forces us to unlock the Cyloop, it does not require us to use it. When we reach the main island after the tutorial, our goals are clear. Step 1, unlock Stomp. Step 2, gather max rings. And Step 3, head to this area. This area has the perfect setup for the Hedgehog space program. By locking on to one of these floating enemies, sidestepping, then stomping immediately followed by an air boost, Sonic is flung into the stratosphere, conveniently over the invisible wall guarding the Giganto arena. The setup is very precise, and the transition between stomp and boost is frame perfect, so be prepared to spend 5 hours on this, or just 5 minutes. There are some variations that are apparently easier, but until writing the script I was not aware of them. Once we're in the arena, we need to summon the Jolly Grey Giant. Run over to this area near the normal entrance. Giganto really likes this specific patch of flowers, and if Sonic approaches them, he will be summoned from cyberspace to kick the ass of whoever tripped his sensors, which happens to be us. Once we climb Giganto, he'll have most of the Chaos Emeralds on him, so we can turn super and turn the tides. After finishing the fight, I realized we forgot about rescuing Amy, which locks us out of the Grand Slam even if we could use it. On to Ares Island, where we'll have to do a little more before we can skip everything. For this island, we'll have to free Knuckles, so start gathering memory tokens. Our rings were refilled, so we won't need to worry about them unless we get hit. After getting enough memory tokens to free Knuckles, we get assaulted by the Wyvern, having to outrun his missiles. After the auto run section, we can set up the skip. When we regain open control, run over to this enemy. Their balloons will help us reach this section of rock. A couple of well-timed jumps and we're in the boss arena. We'll have to run around this area to bring Wyvern to the tower, as he still thinks we're by Knuckles. Once his attention is gone, and his obstacle course is destroyed by our powers of simple movement, we gain the Chaos Emeralds for another supersonic smackdown. Once we defeat the second Titan, we'll move on to Chaos Island. This is our first island with no skips. If one thing requires the Cyloop here, we're screwed. But first, bonus minigame time! Okay, so what you're going to want to do first is download the free Monster Hunter DLC. Once it's installed and ready, head to wherever Big is. With the DLC, you can grind for the tokens free of charge. For something that people say ruins the point of the game, this DLC makes it absolutely meaningless. Gather as many tokens for keys, memory tokens, skill points, rings, anything you need. The only cost is the time spent. Heck, during this challenge, I've abused this so much that I found out the tokens are capped at 999. After getting everything we ever needed from Big, we can speed through Chaos Island. Talk to Tails, break boxes, collect emeralds, play the shooter, play pinball, just go from one area to the next with a little difference from a standard playthrough. If you need a ring recharge, head to Big before you face the knight. There's no point in grinding for rings when Big sells 100 of them for one token. Once we're stocked up, then it's time to duel the knight.
Now here we go, it's the end of the show. Hear them, they're calling your name. 'Cause in the end, it's you and your friends. You'll find your flame.
Cutscenes don't count. Look how cool Bisection is. Moving on. Throughout all 5 of its towers, Rhea Island has no Cyloop sections, so we move on to the final island, Oranos. Okay, here's what you do. You find Big, and you have made it to Eggman with the last emerald. Time to face Supreme in the final fight. Oh my god. He was melted. After destroying the end in a boring final fight, it is proven that you can beat Sonic Frontiers without the Cyloop. This is only part 1 of the game. It's time to face the bonus challenge of the final horizon. After we go through the warp ring, we'll be sent to a new version of Oranos Island. Not as Sonic, but as Amy. Though that does not confirm we don't need the Cyloop. It's the cheapest option on the skill tree, so we're still expected to have it. All 3 of the characters play similar to base Sonic, with a boost and a basic jump. Amy is floatier, but has a triple jump. Knuckles has a 3-hit combo and his glide, while Tails has a wrench throw in addition to his flight. We start doing story missions as Amy, Knuckles, and Tails. In between these, we grind out skill cocoa for the character's special abilities, like the Stomp and Parry for all 3, and max ring abilities for Knuckles and Tails. For Knuckles, his glide stops losing altitude, and Tails gets the Cyclone to fly around in. Even though we can't use the infinite boost, this is still very helpful for traversal. After all that, we return to Sonic with a new ability. Despite not being able to do the action chain challenges, Sonic still gets the spin dash for the final horizon. Big may be gone, but we now have a new game breaker right here. We immediately take our new ability to— Whoa! What? No, die! All of the enemies are supercharged in this update, making it impossible for the bonus characters to fight, and making it a basic struggle for Sonic. Due to Big's absence, we need their gears for the stages. The towers are simple. Run, dodge, and counter with projectiles. Kunoichis can be cheesed with a parry. Use this to complete as many stages as you need for the towers. Dragon's Tower goes just as planned until this spot where you're expected to use the Cyloop. Instead, you can spin dash on the corner to hit the loops. The rest of the tower does not need the Cyloop. The trial has you fight against 5 basic soldiers with ×2 speed. Use the counter, Sonic slowdown, and projectile attacks to defeat them all within the time limit. You can't delete their shields without the Cyloop, so it's best to just run and come back for them to drop it. Snake's Tower has this Cyloop section, which when first going through I thought was the end. But in the days between recording, the thought hit me. Head over to this Tank Plus and perform the HSP. This will launch Sonic near the top of the tower, with basic platforming standing between the Hedgehog and the Coco. The Snake Trial has 4 of these shield enemies, which can only be revealed by the Cyloop, or their own attacks. Let one attack, then homing attack them. When the shield comes back, parry, and repeat the combo. You only have 2 minutes to destroy 4 of them, so be as quick as you can. I can only get 2 punches in between parries, but that was more than enough to finish this trial. After more stages, we reach the Cranes Tower, which has this Cyloop section. We changed the difficulty to easy to get the platform benefits to reach the top of the tower. Before tackling the Cranes trial, we changed it back to hard. Speaking of the trial, we need to fight one super fast ninja, which has similar attack patterns to the Kunoichi. Use parries and projectiles to finish it off. After the trial, we go back to emerald hunting with the bonus characters, with little difficulty in between. Maybe the devs did anticipate people skipping the Cyloop. With no Cyloop section to stop us, we reach the Master King's trial, in which the Titans return for one final bout with Supersonic. The gimmick? Level 1 stats, with a nerfed parry, and no extra rings. You are on a 400-second time limit spanning 3 bosses. We're screwed. The easiest of these is Giganto, who can be taken out by spamming Stomp and Cross Slash. Next up is the hardest of the 3, Wyvern. This worm on a string reject can't be damaged without the parry, which has been nerfed from infinite time to 15 frames, aka half of a second. Knight is like the average between the two, not as hard as Wyvern, but not as pathetically easy as Giganto. The hardest part is the strict time limit, but it's still possible to deal enough damage without the Cyloop. After the trial, you're free to tackle the final boss, but I wanted to grind for rings. If you head to this light dash spot as any of the characters, the rings will respawn, be collected, and respawn again. Once you're ready, you can tackle Supreme. After getting curb stomped by the Master King's trial, base Supreme was a complete joke. But then we get to the Supreme end. The main end may have been possible, but this is it for our challenge. When the Supreme is taken down, the game wants you to Cyloop the gun out of its holster, and then out of the ground for Eggman to pick it up. Unless some wrong warp style glitch is found, these 2 instances in the final battle makes meeting this bonus ending impossible. I'm not mad, this Titan provides a challenge to go all out, using every move Supersonic has to put it down.
I must now walk on. I'm here, reaching far across these new frontiers. With my life, I fight this fear. In my hands, I hold the ones I love. Walk forward through the countdown. Always to new horizons.
Except for the Grand Slam. After everything, that's still locked. Thanks for joining me on this journey. I've been the King of Shovels, and I'll see you next time.